In today's news, Gary Gensler's tyranny is coming to its end, and it seems that he is finally in checkmate. We know he's been stifling crypto and therefore America's innovation. We know that he desperately wants XRP, but it all comes down to why. Why is he doing all of this, and why is he in checkmate? Well, first things first, as we can see in this post from Chad Steingraber, the GAO, which stands for the Government Accountability Office, has determined that SAB 121 warrants a congressional review, and the House Financial Services Committee has recently voted to reject SAB 121. Eliminating SAB 121 would open the gates for all banks to custody digital assets in the United States of America, effectively cutting out the middleman, cutting out the SEC, reducing their oppressive oversight on crypto, which is very, very big news. It seems that Congress are finally trying to tie the hands of Gary Gensler, trying to put him in checkmate due to his arbitrary and capricious actions, his unfaithful allegiance to the law. And we can see even more evidence of that here from Chad Steingraber once more. The SEC's abuse of power versus Ripple. Now, the SEC typically collects just 11% of unregistered sales claims, but in the Ripple case, they want 300%. This is what an abuse of power looks like. As in all cases we can see here, the value of unregistered sales, from Kick Interactive to Telegram Group and so on and so forth, the value of sales outweighs the value of remedies, the money the SEC claims, but of course not in the Ripple case. In fact, it's the only case where the SEC is claiming egregious amounts of money. And I'll get into why Gary Gensler is doing this in a little bit, but beforehand, we have another legal battle, another very interesting perspective from the Meta lawman, and in this interview it's regarding the SEC's plans and actions in the Ethereum ETF case, why the SEC sued Ethereum, and whether we will see an Ethereum ETF by the deadline, the 23rd of May. Let's take a listen.
I believe it's unlikely, and perhaps highly unlikely, that it's going to be approved by this upcoming deadline. I think it's May 23rd. I think that the SEC is looking for arguments that they can use because they know they're going to get sued. And so the arguments that they used against the Bitcoin ETF are going to be ineffective, I believe. And so what we're hearing, what's reported is that they've instituted an investigation into the Ethereum Foundation.
Sure.
And that comes from companies that have apparently received subpoenas from the SEC. And in order for the SEC staff to issue subpoenas, there has to be something called a formal order of investigation, which has to be approved by the commissioners. And so if they have subpoenas, then this is a serious investigation. And what the point is of it is not totally clear, but there are hints out there that Gensler believes that once Ethereum transferred to the proof of stake model, that it became possibly a security or came closer to satisfying the requirements of the Howey test. And so this investigation may not really go anywhere in terms of a case against the Ethereum Foundation, but what they may be doing is just looking for help and evidence and reasons to deny the ETF that hopefully will have some standing with the court. One of the things they could do is simply say, we need to delay again, which this is supposed to be a serious deadline, but they could say, we have an investigation underway into the Ethereum Foundation, and without the results of that investigation, we cannot make an informed determination of whether this is in the best interest of the investing public to permit this. And so there's kind of two things to sum up, Paul. There's maybe we could turn up some evidence that we can use against the ETF, or maybe we can just use the existence of the investigation as a pretext for delaying the decision and kicking the can down the road.
So again, it seems that Gary Gensler is still trying to play his 4D chess, trying to make strategic moves any way he can to get out of checkmate and to continue to stifle crypto and therefore America's innovation. But just like with the Bitcoin ETF case, he will do this. He will then be sued by these institutions and he will lose. As BlackRock CEO Larry Fink states in this interview with Charles Gasparino on Fox Business, that no matter what, an Ethereum ETF is coming, even if it's classified as a security. So again, Gary Gensler is still in checkmate, and the rejection again of the SAB 121 is further proof of this once more. But now to backtrack a little bit, why does Gary Gensler show such a ridiculous abuse of power and so desperately wants XRP when it comes to the Ripple case? Well, for starters, it comes down to what Ripple are trying to build, what they provide, the impacts they are creating, to which we can hear a lot more about the strategies behind this in this interview with the CEO of Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse. Listen very closely.
I remember first hearing kind of the Ripple pitch in 2015, maybe the end of 2014, 2015. And I remember, to me, the simplest thing at the time was, look, we actually want to work with the government. We want to work with banks to leverage these technologies to actually impact way more people. Because even today, with the success of Bitcoin and some crypto that is designed for more anonymous transactions, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of the global financial system. I think if you want to impact the most people and really put a dent in the universe, you want to, how do we reach 99%, not 1%? Not how do we get the 1% using Bitcoin for, payments to 2%, 3%. It's like, look, no, I'm going to go work with the major institutions, the major governments, and I'm going to introduce these technologies in such a way that they can have a broad impact on a broad cut of the population, the unbanked, the underbanked, in ways that I think are pretty profound.
And this, again, is why Gary Gensler wants XRP. He understands XRP's worth, what Ripple are trying to build, the value of what XRP will be in the future. Because Ripple and XRP have been building their reputation in the shadows, building institutional and governmental connections all across the world. The fact that XRP will be utilized as a bridge currency for CBDCs worldwide. And it will not be Bitcoin. As further proved in this post here from Cyprus, straight from the European Central Bank, there is no need for an inefficient proof of work mechanism like the one enabling Bitcoin. The ECB is perfectly aware that Bitcoin isn't the future, and unsurprisingly enough, there have been connections and are connections with the ECB, European Central Bank, and Ripple. Ripple is a utility token that is playing the long game. It's in for the long haul, and unfortunately, you need to be very patient when you hold XRP. You can't be emotional, you need to be logical, understand its worth, and that XRP is going to soar to the moon in the future. As further confirmed in a sense in this post here from XRP Drops, the words from CEO of Ripple, again Brad Garlinghouse, is not about the speculation and the net price speculation of where the price of Bitcoin is going. It's about how do we use these technologies to solve real problems for real customers, what Ripple and XRP are trying to do, which is why they won't remain dirt cheap. And to the extent that it's delivering utility, then there is value in those underlying technologies and underlying assets. Again, this is why Gary Gensler wants so much money from Ripple, why he desperately wants XRP, because they are creating the internet of value, to which, as a final note, pay very close attention to this interview, this video with Marjan Delatine on why she left Swift to join Ripple, and again, it is to create the internet of value.
I joined Ripple actually 10 months ago, and I used to work for Swift for more than a decade, and my last assignment was, I was responsible for GPI, that I'm sure you have heard about it, changing the cross-border or transaction banking systems. Now coming back to Ripple, because I joined Ripple to disrupt, and I think that's the main objective of the Ripple. Ripple is a blockchain company. The vision of the Ripple is to create an ecosystem with a mission that we have, which is creating an internet of value. So when we look at the current landscape of exchanging data, which is happening over internet in a matter of seconds, payment still is going through a long-term cycle, 3 to 5 days for a simple cross-border transaction. So our vision, or the Ripple vision, is really making the payment, the transfer of the cross-border, as smooth as possible than the exchange of the data today over internet. But the banks today, they use Ripple for fiat currencies. That I think is very important to understand.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.